talk to them. First order of business, I'd like to welcome Dave Daly as our new alternate. Dave was, Carl moved up from alternate to regular, and Dave filled a vacancy, and we're very happy to have you. I know Dave works around the community. He helped. I was with him when we were putting hoisting flowers on.
Went from flowers to trees, huh?
Yeah, flowers to trees. Hoisting flowers on the lamppost on Main Street.
I was willing to climb the ladder.
Increase responsibility.
So,
Because they suck right
automatically
across the face.
they valuable. I was willing to go up to the top of the ladder.
Yes, somebody says, he'll go up to the top. We
I
want
can
to.
take care of that.
Yes, I
I
think so.
thought so.
Yeah, I think you got recruited. But welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you. I understand you really like the outdoors and working around, and we could use some of that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good. So with no further ado, I guess we'll go to the June meeting minutes. Anyone have any additions, corrections?
I guess you took good minutes.
I guess. So,
She did good minutes.
and you did a good job. So do we have a motion?
To accept?
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Public Works Tree Crew update. Usually we have Brian Lochner, who's our tree guy, our shade tree commissioner.
Yeah.
He's a certified tree expert, and unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. So he did provide his report. This is from June 18th to August 19th, so we missed July. Acting shade tree supervisor. Good time. So they had 16 trees were trimmed. He had some removals that he gave to you, Jay, I guess.
I haven't seen
He says, given to Jay, separate copy.
He's going to give to Jay.
Yeah, right.
All right. And he met with us at the high school because for an hour and a half when trees we're going to get here next month. Watering new trees, half day, stump grindings, half day, playground and mulching, 4.5 days. Mulching and playgrounds. Unfortunately, our tree guys do a lot of other things. Mowing various township facilities and roadways, 1.5 days roadways, 10.5 days others. Installing and removing flags in town center, 1.5 days.
We're working on that one.
What's the comments that says assistance? Does it mean he got assistance?
He had assistance with help. One of the things with this installing, removing flags in the town center, I'm going to pick on, or not pick on, I'm going to pursue the appearance committee. I think they're the appropriate group that should be complaining about this. Because it's an appearance issue. Why complain about it because Brian's here and it's taking the resources from the tree committee?
No, I think we've already told Scott that we want to keep him up from, what is it, Flag Day?
Oh,
Memorial Day until Labor Day. And
Which makes sense.
And right, and the problem was that they were talking about the flags getting tattered and everything, but the flags are the nylon. They last
right.
a pretty long time. So I
So do I need
personally
to
think
get
that.
them to turn them on the push board or not?
No, I just think we have to make it part of Scott's regular routine, and just make sure it's like in his. You got Karen there. Can you like Karen? Make sure it's Scott is. Because I think we had talked about it last year, and I think it just got overlooked. It was one of those things. We had caught them.
Yeah,
When you called me, you're like, "Stacey, you're taking the flags down." I called Scott. He put an end to it right away. But I think it was one of those things where it got away.
Right.
Especially the new building being built and everything happening all at once. I think that was kind of it. So we'll just have to make sure it's on the radar, and if we as a committee can kind of maybe put that on our radar a month or so before, so we can kind of let Scott know. I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, we'll do it that way. And you had equipment maintenance, pick up parts, half-day call-ins, 6.5 days, meet with residents and residential calls, leaf collection.
beginning.
That's beginning
Right.
in October. Prep and check, snow fence installation, prep and check, and snow plowing, prep and check. So, we did a little, we trimmed some trees, we removed some, so. Usually there's an intense conversation with Brian. Listen, publicity,
Nothing new.
nothing new. We could use some publicity on our tree pruning.
Yes, we could.
We've done it before. We do a tree pruning around town there. Our
Is there,
committee,
I was gonna say, maybe we can do it with a little blast each time you go out in each district.
each,
You know what I mean? So how we get the email that says we're gonna meet
right,
Thursday, maybe there can be a township blast that goes out just so people,
township blast or?
no, like a, you know, we get the info from the,
The subscription?
yeah, maybe we could do something like that to let people know
We posted on the web.
on the webpage, just to say, you know, District 4 is being pruned this week, District 3 is being pruned, you know, but I think when there's a schedule and then people forget about it, and then
Right.
it's being done that week at their house, and they're going, what are you doing with my trees, you know? So I
Oh,
think
yeah,
if we, that's why we had the problem. So.
Last week, Jay, myself, and Barb were trimming, we had trimmed this tree in the parkway, clearing the parkway, put the, it was District 3, so there were brush pickups this week. Put the trimmings in the parkway, not in the curb, not in the street. And this guy came out yelling and screaming and.
The best ever.
Oh, this was the best one I've ever seen. You know, who gave you authority to do this? And I said, oh,
He's
Public
yelling
Works.
at the little board. Board's this big, and he's yelling at her.
So
Move
we-
that stuff.
So we called Public Works, and he said, have Kenny come here right now. And then Gene Caruso, I guess, talked him off the ledge. And he did come down and apologize.
Oh, that's good.
And Ken did
Come over.
come over, and he saw us about 10 minutes later while we were still. And one of the things I said would help, and it had come up before, is if we had safety vests.
Safety vest.
It would make us all look like
Official.
official. And Ken said he hadn't forgotten my request that all they had in stock were three triple X or whatever, you know.
Put on some weight.
So he
He's
ordered,
homesick.
so he
that would
ordered,
fit me.
well, yeah, he said that would fit Jay, but not the rest of them. So he was ordering some, so we
Perfect.
expect to get those.
Well, that'll make it look more official too.
Right, we wear a little
And a little safety too.
name, yeah, it's safety. I think about that as we stand out in the middle of the street,
Mm-hmm.
lopping away and thinking, I should watch for cars.
Mm-hmm. Have a volunteer t-shirts like we.
Yes,
Well,
we have.
that'd been the suggestion by one of the members, one of the inventory team people. And be a nice idea, but I'm thinking, you don't see that until you're right up on somebody. If you, the best, I think, are at a distance. People
Well,
say,
you-
oh,
If you get in that new green, they'll see it.
Like the orange.
Yeah, they got that, the new DOT green, yeah.
Going back to the
They have
80s.
neon orange and yellow and.
right, or go in neon orange or yellow with t-shirts.
Well, they got that, the new green's supposed to be the DOT standard now. It's,
So really?
it'll hurt your eyes, it's so bright.
Well, that might not be good. It's swerving into you. I can't see.
We did do an article on Patch in June
Right.
about tree pruning.
I think we should,
Letting
yeah.
people know that it was, you know, we were gonna be doing it. The problem with a schedule is it's weather permitting. So sometimes that, where you're gonna be doing it might get pushed back or pushed around.
Right, so, but Stacy's idea, maybe what I should do is talk with Patty, whoever puts out the info on Karen, does, and just say, hey, I'll just copy you on our weekly thing.
And she'll put
She'll
it
put,
on
she'll
the
post stuff, I think that's a good idea.
That's,
And that way
that's easy,
people,
that's what we're doing.
oh yeah, it's my district this week, you know, there's
Yeah,
something
this-
about District 3, you know,
right.
there's something going on.
But if you could also put something in the patch again, I know I wanted to tell that guy, well, it's been in the patch, but he didn't seem like he really wanted to hear anything.
John, if we go that way, something in the blast should say that parts of
Yes.
Yeah, parts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
'cause you're not
Oh, that's
doing
right.
all
Because
that.
then you're gonna get-
All this,
You
yeah.
get charged for
Right,
it.
yeah.
That's right, we do a couple of blocks, I mean, it depends how much, sometimes we do 6 or 8 blocks, sometimes we do 2.
They
Depends
do
how
1/5 of the blocks every year, every 5 years you'll be there.
Right, what we try to do is, raise it over the sidewalks and the streets so that cars don't hit them. For the most part, we get people coming up and say thanks, which is
It's been a
nice.
couple of weeks.
But not,
If I
last,
say,
last couple of weeks, we've had 2 in a row, 2 weeks in a row, I
if
guess.
I say check the township website for locations,
Right.
you know, and then that telephone cover it.
Right. Yeah, that
People have a
cover.
question, they see somebody around, that it's someplace they can go.
And he did make a good, the gentleman did make a good point, that all the robberies going around in town,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, these people drive up on it. Because the district we were working in, there was a drivable one, where you drive, stop, hop out of the car, 3 of us pop out of the car, reverse, back away or something,
Attack the trees and leave.
and leave. So, I think you made a good point on that. So,
But he was nasty.
he was nasty.
Some
He
people
calmed
are
down.
just nasty.
Right.
Jean did a good job. Okay, so if we could do that, I'd appreciate that. Archives, anything new with you? No. So we're old business. I'm calling it old business because we've been talking about Arbor Day 2015 for a long time.
I've had a couple of years since you sent me that letter.
Right.
Is it bugging you?
So
Bugging you,
everybody,
bugging
this
you?
is Alec McCartney. He's with the New Jersey Community Forestry Program. And this, 6 weeks ago or something, I got an email that said, hey, Alec wants to come talk to us because maybe we're coming up and we're gonna do this.
Okay, so it takes 6 weeks to get an email to you, so it's 12 weeks ago.
Maybe it was 12 weeks. All I know is I answered when our meeting was and obviously didn't get to you, so.
No, I didn't.
I'm glad I sent you a follow-up.
Yep, so, well, I guess we can kind of go through it. You know, you guys hit us up because it's coming to be your 25th Arbor Day.
Right.
You wanted to do something big. I still got to talk with the state forester about the level of how big we go on that, but, you know, I didn't see her skying away when I was talking about possibly bringing the helicopters up from Coyle Field and landing up here from the fire department, so.
That would be cool.
So that kind of gives you an idea that if she's willing to do that, she's not minding.
I was gonna bring the governor in one of them, maybe.
They are from the 60s. They did see both of them were in Vietnam. So they do. There is a couple bullet hole patches if you know where to look. So they did see they see a lot of business. So, but we're basically how we like to do Arbor Day. I'll just show you some pictures of the past ones if you want to just. I made a couple copies. A lot more people show up than sometimes I do these meetings, but. I just want to get you an idea. These were some of the submissions we sent to the governor. I picked out some of the larger events. The last 2 years, we've kind of kept Arbor Day very small, mainly because we've had a lot of drastic staff reduction.
Yes.
And also, basically, we just, you know, the times that we couldn't get to it with everything, trying to get everything adjusted, that we couldn't get started early enough for as small as the staff as we have now. So. I'm going to tell you that these programs are based, it is front and back, so don't forget there's pictures on the back of them. But, you know, these ceremonies are always been done as what the town kind of wants to do. We bring some of the basic things from that we do in our programs, but we usually fit them into the communities. I know, John, you've been to quite a few of them, so you know they can be different. There's a lot of similarity, but there's a lot of difference, and try to add the local flair. No, you're not going to get the astronaut that we got in 2011 to come out and
We
plant
already
a tree.
planned that tree.
We planted
We already
that.
planted the astronaut tree.
Hey,
We're done.
I just got a call from Mike Muckle up in Phillipsburg. He just lost his tree from
Ours is doing great.
It's very
Yeah.
small, but it's still doing
Yeah, he
well.
he got a little. He wanted to protect the tree so much. They never had a tree vandalism in this park, so he had a fence around it so people couldn't get close to it. Kids jumped the fence, tore up the tree, and stuck it down a bathroom vent. So they're trying to find the kids. They're going to prosecute them as best as they could.
Well, ours is
Doing
doing well.
well, doing well.
And you haven't put your sign on it, right?
Yes, we
Yes.
have.
be careful with that, because remember, when, the original, ones that went up to the moon, it's the only other time trees got up was Neil Armstrong brought them to the moon. Over 50% of those were destroyed or stolen. And they actually, but when they were stolen, they were actually telling people to take the signs off them.
Oh, because people are stealing it.
Yeah, because they started catching on what that was going on, so be careful with it.
Well, it's been there for what, 2 years, 3 years now?
Yeah, just be careful, let it get big, a little bit bigger before you really get to advertising it.
Oh,
I do have an historic record of all the trees I've been keeping up, so.
Well, ours is still growing at,
It's doing well.
doing well. Actually, it's picking up this year.
Yes, it is.
You know, the first couple of years,
Yeah, it's a white pine.
yeah.
What can and I grew in that little pot for 15 years, so I mean, it was ready to get out and break. I mean, you should have seen some of the candles like
Breaks
that.
grow.
People took pictures of them like a year later. I mean, there were some groups that had like 3 to 4 foot candles on them.
Oh, ours weren't that big, but.
Yeah, so, you know, some of these trees were really waiting to get out of that pot. But,
Ours is slow
Yeah,
back.
I'm gonna tell
Maybe
you
a couple
that,
more years to grow.
Oh, right.
I'm gonna tell you guys are biting off a big project. Yeah,
That's
we're
what this
gonna,
group always does.
we're not gonna be a huge, you know, the state's not gonna be able to, it doesn't usually have a huge pot. Most of these big Arbor Day ceremonies is done by donations. And if you've ever gone to our Arbor Day events, you'll notice there's about 120 to 130 donations. Guess who gets to do those? Because as a state employee, I can't do that.
Right.
I will give you guys the information and how to do it. I'll help you with your letters, and I will teach you how to get money. You could expect, if you do it really, if you guys are really aggressive at it, you can probably expect to get around $100,000 to $120,000 worth of donations.
Wow.
If you know what you're doing, and I'll teach you. And that includes food, you know, supplies, equipment. You know, people are willing to donate a lot of stuff. It's all about getting letters and getting out there and talking to the right people. And I'm going to tell you, everybody that's done that and they keep doing it afterwards, they usually can keep themselves around $40,000 a year for their Arbor Day event after Arbor Day.
Wait, 500?
I'd like to spend 100.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people, because it is the state Arbor Day, it makes it easier to go out and get
Right.
those
Yes,
donations.
true, yeah.
You know, after that, you kind
When will we know officially, so we can?
Oh, you guys have already been selected.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
You've already been approved, so don't worry about that.
okay, so then we can start this going.
Yeah, that's why we're here, because we
Okay,
already got
perfect.
that part.
Okay, good.
And John told me, yes, I did talk to him, that you guys are still interested, so.
Yeah.
He spoke for the commission, I hope you don't mind.
What?
He signed you all up.
Right.
So, you know, the events, they're, I kind of, the Arbor Day ceremony in Freehold, even though it's a great event, I do not want it to last as long as that one. We want to keep things kind of short
Yeah.
on the ceremony part, but, you know, what's some of the ideas that you guys have been thinking about? You've been thinking about this for 2 years, you probably got ideas.
well, you know, actually, we've been waiting for, find out what if we were going to do anything.
We've done, a couple of years ago, we had the elementary schools that came and they sang, and they,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
that was actually with the space trade.
With the space.
It was really, you know, it was neat to have school
Yes,
kids
we try to
involved.
get some, we usually try to get a school.
Okay,
Yeah.
if we want to get a school, remember, try to pick one with a large auditorium so we don't have to get a tent, if we can, because you're gonna be looking at 300 to 400
So do you,
people.
Well, we usually, well,
do you have the ceremony and then you go out and plant the tree? Like, we've always had the ceremony where we plant the tree.
Yeah, well, we've done it 2 different ways. Sometimes it's nice to have a school like West Windsor last year. They had a bandstand that they like to put up, so we brought that out. We had it in the park. Actually, it was the first Green Acres property ever purchased in the state. We had it at, and but we have the high school as the backup in case of rain.
right.
Okay.
And you know, state Arbor Day is mandated. It's going to have to be April 24th. There's no
Rain or shine.
no moving it. The act was passed, and we're stuck with that as being the state Arbor Day date. So we're, don't expect it to move. This is the earliest in April that it can be, because you got to remember the end of April is on Thursday. So
Okay.
But as Stacy was saying, usually we, in the past, we've held it at wherever the
Mhm.
planting site. Granted, our planting site has usually been a tree or a couple of trees.
Yeah.
And I'm anticipating that we would be planting a number of trees.
Yeah, and we need to figure that out as a group, how much you guys would wanna do. I do not wanna do as many as we did in Freehold, cause that was brutal. If you think numbers, there's a lot of different support we have. Newark, that was extremely brutal, cause every single one of those was a concrete cutout, and that was 148 trees. And Newark, Arbor Day and Freehold was at 165 trees, and you're thinking about, so you're talking a large volume of trees, and that's just a lot of work in planning. You gotta remember, I am the urban forestry program.
You're right.
I am left. Everybody you guys know,
Last man
urban
standing.
and forestry is me. So you gotta understand that while we're trying to plan this stuff out, everything on the state side falls on me. So we gotta keep the numbers.
I hope you're energetic. You look great.
Yeah, I came straight from work, by the way, so.
Well,
I stopped at Chipotle's on the way over here, so that gives you an idea how
hungry,
energetic.
thanks.
I got half a burrito still, I didn't have
I
finish it by the
waited.
time the meeting started.
So we would do this then with volunteers and putting all those trees in.
Oh.
So we kind of almost will have like a dry run,
Right,
September 19th.
right.
And you're gonna have 300, and you probably should expect, if you're gonna do a big event, we start advertising everything with 300
people.
people.
And
Okay.
these larger number of people than we're used to, we can attribute to other people in
The
the
whole
state?
state coming, yeah.
Okay. I guess the place we were thinking about planting trees, this has been going on in my mind for several years. I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah.
what I'd really like is, okay, let's plant trees along the street, boom, boom, boom. But you can't do that because it's be over 20 miles. You can't do, you gotta have some kind of condensed. Okay,
Well, why not?
give up on that site.
Yeah, but did
So
you see
we-
the site that we planted in? There was no trees around the whole school. It was 140 trees, that 140 trees was over 6 square blocks.
Wow.
So that tells you how lack of trees that area was.
So we're thinking about out at Jeff Young Park,
Mhm.
I said it wrong.
Wesley Bishop.
Wesley Bishop,
Bishop.
thank you.
Mhm.
Wesley Bishop Park, it's out on Church Road. They
That's where we got it.
Around it.
It's really been
Around the
expanded,
Right.
and they did a lot for the parking lot, taking out a bunch of trees, and we replaced some, but there's a lot of areas in there that could use trees. And I think we could use, someplace we could plant plants, somewhere between, I don't know how many, less than 100, probably around 100.
Yeah, you could fit 100.
You could probably, if you had to, you could fit that many.
Let's try to get it closer to 25.
Okay.
Okay.
That works actually.
That works.
Now, that works for me too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm thinking, when I first started doing this, the Arbor Day ones that I had heard about were 120 trees, 120. You got these thousands of volunteers coming in, I'm thinking, where would we ever plant these
That
trees?
many trees, yeah.
So we did come up with Wesley Bishop Park, which I think would be a good spot because there are a number of planting areas,
And there's parking.
and there's parking, and there's restrooms,
Mhm.
and what else? What other good things is
So we
there?
don't have to get
Playground?
playgrounds.
You don't have to get porta potties.
Mhm.
There's seating, is there? seating?
No,
No.
well, no, there's an occasional
On the-
bench.
Yeah,
bleachers.
the bleachers,
and
but,
stuff, but-
I mean, you could,
Not in the area, yeah, that's not in the area.
Don't worry about the chairs.
Okay.
yeah, we would
We,
do.
well, we usually, the state has about 220 of them bring. So we got that part. One of the things that I have for support with this is DEP Central Service Group. They actually tell the commissioner now on Arbor Day, it's basically a permanently booked schedule for his whole entire staff to come out setting this up. So I do have a small army that
We'll help out.
well, they'll do the PA system for us,
Oh, great.
and they do the stand and the system, and then where the flags are being posted, let them do it. That's out of your guys' control.
They're professionals, they can do it.
Yeah, they will sit there and they actually go through and they'll spend, I've seen last year with the, we had a landscape architect, what kind of knows how landscape architects are as our contact with the municipality. They can be very picky. I'm trying to make it as pleasant as possible.
Nice work, Vicky.
And just everything, he was really picky. He was even getting frustrated with the guys because they're spending an hour, like 2 hours, about 3 hours before the event, doing sound testing throughout the whole entire park to make sure it's balanced properly. So these guys are very serious.
You're not
about it.
that big. If you got a sound system, you can hear.
Well, it drove him nuts that these guys are spending that much time. making
Tell them
sure
we're nicer
it's,
than that.
Because these guys will make sure it's done right. That's
Good.
Perfect.
Great.
That sounds great.
They don't like it when they hear reverb. They get all upset with themselves.
And Sandy, you don't have to worry about the sound system.
That's
This
right,
is-
yeah.
Poor Sandy is,
The megaphone.
has done, has really been in charge of the Arbor Day
Okay, for the last
for a
5
number of
years.
years. And she gets this, he rents this little portable,
Yeah,
sound
PA,
system that
yeah,
is about,
battery operated thing.
battery operated about this by this. So,
This year
yes.
we didn't. We
I got
said-
one of those.
We
I got one
just-
20
we
years
said
ago
we're
for the state Arbor Days when they were in Trenton and behind the Capitol complex.
so,
We just did without one this year.
Entertainment, we kind of let you guys, you know, if the schools will be in session at that time, or, because they're always great
Yes.
for entertainment.
Yes, we tried to get the school involved. We didn't this past thing because it
Well,
was
because it was
spring.
during spring break.
It was
But this
during
is-
spring break, but
yeah,
this year,
hopefully this is
when
spring break. Anybody have a
um,
school calendar on that far? A
well, you
mother-
should know where at
I'll-
Easter
I'll-
is.
I'll
It's
look
always.
at
A mother might. Or,
I know where to get find it on the website,
I
yeah.
also trying to.
Okay.
Oh,
But-
there's my internet.
If you can find that.
Not the best.
I will tell you, if you want to make Mike jealous, get a marching band. Tarika, he always wanted to have a state Arbor Day with a
Where is
marching
Mike?
band.
Well,
He's retired. He's writing forest management plans. He's on the consultant list now.
Maybe we could get a marching band, one of the string bands.
one of the spring?
Or
There you go.
Mama's.
Or you could get maybe the
That costs
the
a lot.
high
Well, we
school.
could just have the high school, or we could just contact the high school.
High
It's
school.
just not a
Yeah,
marching,
that-
they don't march, they play.
They play.
They
yeah.
play it.
No, they do. Well, they march in the
They march
Christmas parade.
That's right.
Maybe they can play.
But, you know, I'm just giving you guys
They
ideas
do
of
that.
creative
They do
things
it
we
for
can
Christmas.
do.
The
I'd like to, I want to get the fire guys involved, so if there's a good play, I don't know if there's a landing spot for the helicopters, if they decide to bring them in. or-
Yeah, there is.
Well,
Yeah, that would be.
It's a football
Football
field.
Football field, and there's, yeah, and it's a big,
Soccer,
baseball that, it's like
Here's,
the
yeah.
big baseball field. It's not like the little league baseball field, it's the.
Oh, yeah, this is.
Just one of the things I want to do on the state level is, when the state forester wants to have a spring event that kind of highlights all the forestry items. So I'd like to make sure I include fire, state land, and private land management into there. So they'll probably bring some displays along with them to show off what they do. You know, we can maybe.
There's a parking area where all that would fit in nice.
Yeah, we can make that all work out real smooth, kind of make it some more events. I was even thinking until we go to closed session.
Let's turn that off for a minute. Can you turn it off for just a minute? Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
But the curriculum has to be, they have to study all these different categories and natural resources and take, and they go out and one day they have a proctor exam. It's actually a whole multi-day event for them. They actually have to sleep out, camp out. They're gonna be doing it at Cape May, but the thing that's unique is this year's theme is urban forestry, and each year's a different theme. So, you know, being Morristown, it might be a nice way to tie it in, because it's the urban forestry program, kind of maybe tout them. They get a big giant bear that they get to carry around for a year, if they win the forestry one. So those are some kind of things that we can kind of bring in there, kind of highlight some other ideas. When you're thinking ceremony, try to think of who you guys would like to speak. I try to keep the list short and simple. Cause, you know, it's gonna add up quick, and I know you
Keep it
guys,
simple. No, it's simple.
yeah, you know, try to stick with mayor, guest keynote speaker, you know, just keep it to one or two small groups. Because if we get the governor, which if we apply early enough, we have a better chance, you're gonna end up, this thing gets blown.
There might be 5,000 people here.
This thing becomes not a, this thing becomes a logistical nightmare, because we'll be talking about having, where armed security is gonna be, where, how the limos are gonna, how emergency vehicle and access for the governor specifically, on top of emergency management equipment. It becomes a whole entire ICS situation.
Media.
The media, whole aspect of the large media groups, so be forewarned that might happen with the state overday.
Yeah, it's a big place, and we had fireworks there, so if we could have fireworks there.
And if you got a helicopter, you never know, he might come on his helicopter, the state helicopter, through the state police, so, I mean, there's a lot of, those are things that, as we get ready to formulate what we're doing, and start putting our packet together, I'm gonna have to send a package up and an invite to the governor. Yes, I do. These are the pictures that go along with that packet. We send up a whole entire thing trying to show it off. When we do that, I'll let you guys know if you really would like to have the governor. It could help to have a letter from the municipality also inviting him to the State Arbor Day in the event.
Sure would be a good.
And you'll have to, in the process of doing that, so you don't step on any toes, you gotta invite the lieutenant governor, the commissioner, the deputy commissioner, and the assistant commissioner of natural resources.
You write that down for me?
I will run you through it, because what'll happen is I'll get you a copy of the letters that I'm sending out,
Good.
and you'll have all the memo notes of who it is, because
Okay, good.
when I send the packet up, I have to write the letter inviting the assistant commissioner, and then the assistant commissioner's packet to give to the commissioner's packet, to invite him to the package, to invite the commissioner to the assistant commissioner, and it goes
You
all
can't
with
just
the
call
line.
somebody, hey, you wanna come?
Yeah.
This is why it takes us. It takes about 4 months to get it up to the governor.
Just give me a
It takes
phone call and
several
show
months to get it. Politics for you.
Well, I hear politics.
And bureaucracy.
Something to do this
But, you know, they know what's gonna come up, and I also have to get the Arbor Day proclamation ready for there. Do not forget your guys' proclamation.
They have one every year.
Yeah, we had Haddon Township forgotten, actually, the morning of. I actually brought it and made the photocopy, did the stamp one, modified it, made it, printed it out on my computer.
Crossed out and put it in that field.
So basically, you have all your stuff with you.
That was Haddon Township,
Okay, we
yeah.
have it.
Yeah, literally, I was, actually have there you go, see? Make sure you have it ready when, don't forget that.
All right.
Because that's kind of embarrassing when it comes to Arbor Day. So, yeah, literally, I did Haddon Township's proclamation the night
We'll
of.
place you can do ours if we need it.
We'll have that.
Yeah, it's, so, you know, it's pretty good. Last year, the Christie did actually physically sign it. He didn't use a cartograph machine. You know what a cartograph machine is?
Yeah.
Good. It's not too many people know that.
Anyway.
AutoPen, that's another name for it, yeah. You know, the event's kind of large. I mean, you guys got some ideas here, it sounds like, the park, the planning. Think about the entertainment. Think about how much food you guys want to bring. Do you guys want to have a heavy food event?
We usually keep it cookies in the water.
But now we're gonna have more than that.
It's a governor's.
Right, the governor's coming back.
Well, you know, and you can think about donations with that
Yeah.
kind of
Right,
stuff. Because,
Yeah.
you know, I've seen,
And it's a funny go to that too.
I mean, like Asbury Park, we really didn't even need to bring food because they had got so many food donations. We used to buy the sandwiches. I gotta check with if you guys want the state to do that, we've done that in the past. I gotta check with the state forester. Because she hasn't really told me everything that she was willing to let us do or not do. So
Okay.
if you think
So once we
need
get those,
lunches-
parameters, then I think it'll be
Yeah.
easier for us to make those decisions.
Yeah, I don't try to bring a lot to these meetings because I don't want to stifle your guys' ideas of what you want to do. So the first meeting's kind of a little more loose.
Yeah, we're,
Next meeting, you'll see a whole bunch of structured paperwork.
Oh, okay, okay.
because frankly, I wasn't sure where we're going with the meeting and with the planning, but I thought
we let it flow out. That way now I can look up this Wesley Bishop Park. I can get familiar with it.
Right.
I'll do a drive-by on one of my days to work or when I'm on vacation next week.
Well, if you let me know, I'll show you around out there.
Okay.
Yeah, glad to.
Yeah, I try to get out there at a moment's notice, but the main thing is trying to get familiar with what you guys got an idea, because it really needs to be your guys' Arbor Day. I mean, the state just kind of, the idea of moving it around the state actually became the process that Mike was looking in the back of the state capitol building. They removed the parking lot now, so there is room. Yeah, it was, but they were running out of room to put trees behind there.
Yeah.
So that's why
Oh,
they,
that's smart.
so Mike got the idea and decided to move it around the state. So.
Showcase different towns around the state. I think it's a pretty idea.
So frankly, I guess after being at a number of the shade tree conferences and seeing about what Arbor Day at different places around the state was, and I thought, gee, we're coming out of 25 years, that's kind of significant. 25 years. The reason we're doing this, oh, by the way, remember, is we'll be celebrating the 25th year as Tree City USA. And we would like to encourage it as a means of keeping all the community focused on trees, and have the Arbor Day celebration here.
Yeah, and it's also a mile mark. It's also going to be a mile marker year for Arbor Day. It's Tree City USA for our Tree City USA program.
What year is it from our Arbor Day? I don't know.
75.
Oh,
That's the first
very
year.
good.
1975 was no 1975.
This is pressure. This is major
That was
pressure.
1975 was the first year.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
75 was the first year.
All right, guys, we gotta get going on this sucker. It's like, woo.
So you're talking.
So it's the 40th now.
Carving station.
So
Yeah.
1975 was the first.
No,
Butler hors d'oeuvres.
this is the 75th year Arbor Day?
1975 for Tree City USA was when it first started.
Oh,
Okay,
75.
okay.
1975 was the year it started.
Yeah, so that gives you an idea, gives you that 40 year. So this is the 40th anniversary. And I do know Dan Lamb, the president, very well. Him and I, off the camera,
Sorry.
did some things for, especially with Arbor Day here in New Jersey, because we've been doing the tree recovery program.
Would you be a speaker?
We can talk to Dan. Well, it might be hard on that day, because I think they're having their ceremony the same day.
Right, I'm
Oh.
sure they are,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but
Nebraska
or
City.
somebody from, something like that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if you get the governor, that's going to be more than you'll ever want.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest, because
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
go that, you'll be like, after the governor one, you'll be like, oh, thank God, it's over. There's all, I mean, everything's going to be in stress. I mean, everybody in this room is going to be running around like a chick with their head cut off that day. I was here the last time the governor did it, of course, and had actually been in a car accident, my Datsun 240Z, 2 months before the Arbor Day, and had some of my disc slips. And on the day of, we had a attempted rape in the apartment below that I broke up. So I dislocated my back and went to Arbor Day and dislocated 7 dislocated vertebrae, and I freshly separated that morning and planted 12 trees.
You didn't
Including
start
including lifting one completely out of the hole because the people planted it wrong. So,
Oh,
and had to deal with the governor, and the governor was luckily had been in an accident. He looks at me when I'm sitting there at the side of the tree, and he's like, "Why are you hunched over?" I said, "I told him the story." He looked at me and went, "Oh,
And they're done that.
yeah," because you remember.
So does the planning usually take place first and then the program?
We can go either way, but that seems to, what we usually do is the ceremonial tree's usually planted last because you want to kind of end the ceremony with it. I think you guys would agree with that.
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or if we decide to do the planning, we can do it after. We normally have it. We usually do it before, but if we do it after, I could see doing like the ceremonial tree and then just have everybody disseminate out and go plant trees afterwards.
That's not the norm, usually.
No.
it's,
Yeah, we flow. I'm very fluid. I can go either way. I'm not going to break. Times, I mean, it's traditionally in the morning, but last year started at 2:30 in the afternoon. So it's up to what you guys wanna do with the two.
Generally held ours in the morning.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was
it's
just
morning.
in the morning, yeah.
Especially if you have the elementary schools, you wanna have it in the
Yeah.
earlier in the morning.
Well, then you might want to have the ceremony first and then. If we're gonna have a bunch of trees that we're doing, it's gonna take a little more time.
I mean, do we,
That might be
do we
better.
plan
Don,
to-
you've been to them before, haven't you? How
The
long
state
is it?
ones?
Yeah.
No, I haven't been to the state
Oh.
one.
And then, how long do you think it took to plant all those trees?
I
and
was
all
gonna
these
say,
events?
yeah, I mean, do we, oh,
Less than an hour.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
we have
the
the
sites, you have the
people.
sites picked out, you have the. that-
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
street,
All
you've
done,
got the-
everything.
Everything's all prepped, you know,
Okay.
it's just,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
it's cut
well,
wires,
make sure you have no.
pull the
volcanoes.
burlap off, it's cut wires, pull burlap, drop tree in ground,
Mhm.
push the oil back in,
So
go to the
that's
next
basically
tree.
everything's prepped the day before, a couple days before,
Yeah.
you get everything going.
Oh yeah, we got the tree
Alright.
sitting at the
Okay.
site, so
Right, okay.
it's less than an hour.
You supply the trees or we supply the trees?
Donations, and we'll see how much funds that I can get together on the state side, we'll supply the trees.
Like 2 inch, 3 inch?
I'll try to say the 2 to 3 inch,
Mhm.
just to be on the smart side. We'll make sure we deal with the reputable nursery, because I'm not gonna deal with bringing garbage. I'm trying
Yeah.
to stick local. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be tricky to stick with the local nurseries, because the Turnpike decided to do all their replacement tree plantings this year. So the nurseries in New Jersey are pretty tapped.
Mm.
Yeah, Fernbrook, I got a list from Fernbrook, and they didn't seem to have lots of street trees, but I.
They were pulling nails, they were fighting, I mean, the contractors were fighting with the people like, well, if you think it'll get to 2 inches by that time, mark it and get it out there. They were that
My roller
desperate for
says it's
trees.
2 inches.
They were at that point where, it's like, they would not like me on the DOT project, because I'd have a caliper probably taped to my leg trying to do this and everything. Oh, that slides over, it's okay, because it isn't okay, because it's, it's a lot of trees. I mean, they're planting, we're talking hundreds of thousands of trees that we're planting this year.
Wow.
And then on top of that, you got a lot of municipalities buying trees for their no-net loss projects. You got, Lakewood's got the largest sum that any one community's ever gotten, $1.7 million worth of trees to plant at $300 per tree. So you think,
We don't have any of that.
No, sorry.
so Lakewood's gonna be one of the most forested,
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
communities here real soon, because when they did that's not including the highway part, that's just the interchange and pavement. So
In Lakewood?
when they widened the Garden State Parkway, all the interchanges in Dinkwall, there's still a dispute about
Oh, I read something.
about the widening areas, because there was a fire plan being developed and they just started without the fire plan, and so there's this issues about what should be counted, what should not be counted, and then there's issues, Garden State Parkway hasn't started implementing the fire plan that was developed after they got done with their project, and there's issues that if they don't do that all the trees would go under there. And, it's an argument between the two, the DEP and no, actually, that would be the transit, New Jersey Transit Authority. And we're talking a dispute of around anywhere from 15 to $87 million.
Wow.
And it's only an estimated 87 million, it could be more. 'Cause they never put it till later.
Oh, we aren't getting any of that.
So,
So what's our next step? What do we need to do now?
well, you guys have done quite a bit. We got the park already, that's good. We kind of got a number of trees we're thinking, 25 to 50. That's a good start. We got a good park with restrooms, we got all that stuff, we don't need that. We need to work on the entertainment, see what, might be available. That can be something for you guys to start on. Figure out lunches, figure out when you'd like to start it. And we have started like the plantings at 8 o'clock, and then have the ceremony start at about 10 and then end around noon. If we can make the ceremony shorter than 2 hours, I think everybody would be happy.
Oh, yeah.
2 hours?
And if you get the governor, it won't be shorter than 2 hours, I can absolutely guarantee that, so.
Well, it's supposed to start at 10. We might start at 11. We're waiting for him to get there.
Well, if it starts at 11, because we have to wait for him to get there, we won't be finished until probably 3. So, because you gotta think about all the other activities that you guys have planned in there, then the governor's gotta speak, and, you know, the governor's gonna, and then the governor is gonna be able to insert himself, is gonna have to insert himself into everything that's there. That includes if we decide to have an art contest, that's another thing we need to talk about. You guys want a statewide art contest going on, or not this year? It's a lot of work.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah,
I can talk to a couple of groups, like the Shade Tree Federation maybe can run it for me, I can't really do it.
Can we do something maybe in conjunction with, if you want to do like with the art is local school, maybe with the Burlington County College?
We could do that.
And they have an art program, that they do gallery showings in Mount Holly. So maybe there's something we can do in conjunction with them, with the college students.
Well, we can do a state one too. But what we can do with that is that, you know, we can advertise it out, I can get the list, and maybe I can talk to a couple of art groups. I know the Shade Tree Federation is looking, they do have a Arbor Day subcommittee that is actually looking to do more. I was actually thinking of giving them one of my awards. Sorry, Len, if you're listening, I haven't talked to you about that yet. But anyways, you know, so there's a couple things, maybe we can get that, this is a way for them to get involved, maybe they can sponsor a statewide event, Arbor Day, because quite honestly, with just me, it's just way too much work for all that paperwork that comes in. And you gotta, and when you think of the mailing out to all the schools, you gotta remember there's 736 school districts in this state.
Yeah.
And that's not including the private schools, and we've always been very good to try to get the private schools involved. 'Cause
Can you give your secretary a list?
I don't have a
That's you.
secretary. I share a secretary with 6 other people, so.
That's good.
But no, what we can do, it could be set up and I can talk to them, and I know a couple people on the Shade Tree Federation that used to run the state Arbor Day art contest, so they kind of know how it goes, so I just have to give them their notes out of their computer archives.
Okay.
But, you know, if that's something you guys think would be worthwhile, it's always good to have some way to give some recognition to kids.
Right.
It fills in the event nice.
Oh, that'd be great.
You know, I don't know if we want to do all 12 grades or 13 grades, excuse me, should include kindergarten. Because you get some of the cutest artwork from them. And you're lucky to get any in high school, so.
That's right.
You know, we can look at grouping it up, maybe making it smaller for events, or as we said, to developing the schedule for our event if it starts to get longer. I will tell you, I am a time task manager that you will never meet in this project. I will ask you what song and what composition when they're gonna do the entertainment. So grab as much information as you can, because I will have the conference down to a minute. I even write in time for someone to go up to the stage.
30 seconds to walk up the stage, right?
I will literally have a timeline scheduled at that point.
I wouldn't be
And I
the person
even
doing
asked-
that. I would have walked, take an extra couple steps.
Like for instance, in this event right here, let's see, you see this guy right here? He's George Klinger, he's practically blind at that time and can barely walk. I planned 2.5 minutes for him to get up from the front seat to get to the front. That's how much of,
Did he surprise you in doing 30 seconds?
no, he did it in 2 minutes and 26 seconds.
Threw everything off.
So he saved me 4 seconds. But that's the kind of, I used to, when I was in high school, I used to manage the whole entire concert series again. That's not
Okay, so.
So I'm very time conscious to get that. So
That's
you will have a point where I'm gonna be like, you guys said you wanted a 2-hour ceremony, something's gotta go. And you'll be looking at it, but everything
Well,
only
we
adds
love
up
it
to 2
all.
hours. Yeah, but
I
you
don't
didn't
think I
count.
wanted 2 hours.
We don't want 2 hours ceremony.
No, I tell you, if you want an 1.5-hour ceremony, let's plan on an hour, and then I get, because by the time we get done, we'll be at it'll be an hour and a half.
We'll say that.
An hour.
An hour, trust me, you're not gonna do much, we're gonna need at least an hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it's on, it is our 25th, it's
Right,
75th, it's, it's like the big number, so.
Yeah, you got those big
Yeah, you got the big
numbers.
numbers, it's not like the 19th and the.
Right.
And then, we're gonna have, and
That's why it was so low key this year, it's gonna be like, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe we want it in 2016, hold on.
I know what Dan Lamb is planning to give all the states, that it's gonna have to be brought out. I'm not supposed to know that, but because I know him well enough.
All right, don't tell us.
So we got stuff coming from that we'll probably have to display out. If we do an art contest, I'm gonna tell you, an art contest is a good 30-minute time suck.
Forget the art contest.
Because you gotta think about getting all those kids out there in quick order pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you display the art, but it's always good, what we've done in the past, and
Group
and you
picture.
definitely want this,
Mhm.
is we'll get, I've gotten medallions made with for the winners.
Okay.
And so they get a gift, get them a gift certificate and a medallion, they put it around their neck and they get a ribbon. Parents love that thing. The
Yeah.
biggest key is we get them up there with the dignitary, they get their picture taken with the dignitary. And as soon as he literally gets done with the picture, the kid is maybe taking 2 steps from him. Whoever the dignitary is that's giving the awards out has already got the next kid's
Oh, yeah.
awards. That's how quick I run it, but
No,
it's still gonna take you half an
You
hour.
need that.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be quick and fast, but it still takes a half an hour. My high school was the largest high school in the country, and our graduating class would be 3,600 students going across the stage, and we would do it in 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So I learned stuff
They were
from
running.
that. You're running.
Yeah.
So I do run a fast clip on everything to try to get it through. So,
Okay.
but, so don't worry about if we get stuff, just remember that if we get too much, I'll start talking about cutting back.
Okay.
I recommend having 3 entertainment type things. It kind of breaks up the speeches and the presentations and the awards a little bit. And I find 3 is a nice magic number, because you can have that starting, 1, 2 in the middle, and then you do the ceremonial tree planting. And we can always, and if you end up with 4 or 5 entertainment, we can always have some pre-ceremony entertainment.
Right.
So that's another option. And a lot of things to think about, isn't there?
Yeah.
There is.
But,
Who would be MC?
MC usually is someone from the state.
Is it? Okay.
Okay, we'll work with what you guys want. I've had to do double MCs, and I had to do both schedules because I literally have to write everything out down to the word form. So I get, that makes it real fun because then I end up, because it's almost twice the work. And usually whoever MCs gets about a 25-page document that they have to go through. We take giving
Hearing.
It's the only way you can keep
Like
the
me.
ceremony on time, is to be that
Yeah,
precise.
you're right.
Yeah, you do, you have to.
And we need to do that because otherwise people start leaving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because trust me, and now, Freehold's a great example. I brought the pictures from that one. I'm gonna tell you, George Klinger, I love the poor guy, but that guy was about to give me an aneurysm. He had planned this thing out for 35 years, I guarantee you that. He was planning to have a state Arbor Day before they moved around. And this is like his life goal. It was a Bridezilla type moment. By the time he'd gotten all his entertainment ideas listed out and gotten a hold of all these people, I laid out the whole entire event. The ceremony itself would have been 5.5 hours. And here I am. And trust me, I sent him a notice saying we can't do this and all this list. He comes up to me, he's so upset at the meeting we're gonna go talk about this. You can just see he's so mad that he can't even talk. And then I go through everything, and afterwards he was calm. But yeah, it was fun. It was a difficult moment. So I do understand about that. We did get the ceremony down to 2.5 hours. So it will be done.
All right.
Is there any other questions you guys have? I'll start putting lists and stuff together eventually. We'll probably, September's kind of a weird month for me, so we'll start looking maybe at October meetings again, or going to November.
Okay.
Perfect.
And,
Sounds good.
we might have to bounce around with October, and if you guys are your meetings are in the middle of the month, so we'll be good with November. We'll have to check with October. I got conferences that I have to go to nationally now, so. It's the stuff Mike used to do, and I'm not allowed to be able to do this stuff. I gotta do all of it,
That's
so.
you.
We'll go ahead and get you set up with this. I'll start getting the list going, kind of drafting. You sound like you guys kind of want, have the ceremony around 9 or 10, or around the 10 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like it sounds a lot like or more of our traditional setup in a lot of ways, so that where most municipalities want to do.
Which sounds rather traditional.
Yeah.
Just a little.
It makes life a little easier sometimes, instead of trying to be radical and have
Yeah,
a
we're
3
not-
o'clock ceremony.
Yeah.
Some people say hide bound.
But, you know, it's, you know, we'll work it out. I mean, think about what you guys, you know, think about the park, what you guys want plant species for the new trees, because, you know, I know you guys have your tree survey, so you know what you have composition wise. Speaking of which, I was supposed to get the
We
raw
can do our
data
wish
from you
list.
guys.
That was you need to write that?
Be glad.
Yeah, please send it to me. Because I've been asking for it from Ken for years now.
Ken doesn't have it.
Well, yeah, he keeps sending me that
He
one-page
has
report.
He has no paper pencil.
Yeah. He told me, oh yeah, I'm
That's the
good.
man who has
I
it.
know. But you got Ken as my lead contact, so.
I don't think Ken is the.
You know, all you gotta do is phone call me to change the management plan contact.
You better phone call.
But no, he, yeah, that way I can go through, because we were actually looking at that, I've been wanting to play with
Sure.
that. Because I'm actually gonna try to get an intern to take, when you guys had the FIA urban plots done back in 2005. I was looking to have those redigitized and actually look at integrating them in there. I've been working with David Nowak. And I might be talking to you guys, another thing that's kind of, sorry Lynn, I'm still working on that.
We did an iTree survey, and we got a bunch of analysis.
Yeah,
out of
there's
that.
you had a prior survey done in 2005
Okay.
by the U.S. Forest Service. You were one of the towns.
Really?
Yeah, I have the data.
Okay.
But
That'd be interesting.
and
to
actually,
see.
what's very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, what's interesting is the data was run through the U4 model, which is actually now the iTree Eco, which is
Right.
the most complicated one to run. So you have 2005 processed data
Wow.
in the top of the line version. So now you see why I want your iTree data.
Send it on over.
Be glad to send it over.
So what if we end up bringing the iTree into there? If we end up bringing the FIA, urban FIA was experiment 2005, and it was only done in New Jersey. And they went down. They decided not to do it because none of the other states were at the time were interested in or had the capacity. Now a couple other states, they started pushing this urban FIA. They want to get more of an analysis on the urban environment. They're finding out how good they know the trees out in the traditional areas, but as soon as you start getting to a population density, they don't know what's out there. So they're looking at doing these now. They don't know how they're going to fund it, so we're going to have to talk to them about funding these.
We don't have money.
We have
Oh, it's just
volunteers.
So we'll see
We
what
don't have
happens.
volunteers.
We do volunteers.
Right.
Well, and that might be, it might actually work out with that even too, because we might be able to use the U.S. Forest Service for the assistance in getting the plot locations and using your read delineations. And then maybe even having the, because you guys are an experienced volunteer group, and if we have some Rutgers researchers with you, I think you guys could probably do it with that one.
We're on the cutting edge. This town is amazing.
Well, and
We
the
have
cool,
helped other towns with iTree.
yeah, well, outside the other cool thing about getting in on this urban FIA and the early get-go is you're probably gonna get a whole bunch of U.S. Forest Service analysis of your data. The other thing I will check for you guys, I've been meaning to do this with the neighboring towns to Camden County, is the U.S. Forest Service actually flew in LiDAR and taken 1 foot resolution infrared photo imagery of all of the county of Camden.
Oh, wow.
So any overlap where the plane flew over we would have that data coming in.
That'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about getting into that resolution? I mean,
We did
It's better than
a
Google.
tree canopy analysis that
Yeah.
Kathy did
Right, right.
with the 1,000 point tree
Yeah.
canopy analysis, which was.
well, at this rate, you can actually use fuzzy statistical methods, and you can actually predict what tree the canopy is, and you can actually figure out the percentage of canopy you have in each species at that resolution.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to know how many square feet of ash you have in the canopy, you would know after,
Wow.
if you knew how to play with this data.
That's crazy.
Okay,
You guys got a lot going on.
there we go.
We do.
All right,
All right, super.
so, next step is we'll be in communication.
Communication meeting. You guys can have the last couple of my business cards. There ain't a whole lot left, but pass them around.
And then do you want us to wait for you to start sending out those letters? Get the,
Yeah, I'll get you set up with volunteer letters, some samples of what's been done in the
but
past.
like for the governor, if you want to do that, do you want us to send a letter to you first before we send it to his office?
Oh, yeah, do that, just so I can look through it, and I'll do it as a non-official.
Okay.
You know how that works. Because that way I can make sure everything looks good and consistent, but I would wait till I get mine done.
Okay, perfect. That's what I just wanted to know. If you were
That way you guys aren't having to
Perfect.
reinvent the wheel.
Yes, we don't want to do that.
No, none of us do, so. There's, any other questions? Going once, going twice?
I'm sure there will be.
There will.
Oh, there'll be hundreds, but we're just talking about tonight now.
Right.
So, all right, well, I'm gonna head on home.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
Yes,
Thanks
thank you.
very much,
Thank you.
Alex.
No problem.
Yeah, this is exciting.
So, yeah, you guys, you're gonna be wondering what the heck you did after tomorrow morning.
What have we done?
Thanks, Sean.
We have a lot of reservations for this committee.
No, I mean, you'll have fun, but after you're done, you'll be like, that was a lot of work. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's pretty much, you pretty much gotta think about 6 months of what you normally get is pretty much gonna be your own thing.
Well, last month we planned it 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, we're getting ready.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, we needed as much time with you writing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Whew.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.
Meeting's adjourned, we got too much to think about.
John, what have you gotten this year? I'm really excited.
I think it's
What
actually really
why? We
This
we
is
as a
great.
committee decided
Yes, I guess we did.
when we did our forestry management plan 5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yeah, we were.
He keeps saying that way thing.
Anyhow,
No, this, I think it's exciting.
I think it's exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah, sure.
And,
Something to do this winter.
Yeah.
yeah, my spare time.
It'll keep us busy.
Yeah. All right, well, just a preface for all this, the last meeting we had, we talked about the Brotherton County tree application for getting 10 to 15 trees.
Oh, right, yeah.
And, you know, we went off, Jay looked at Wesley Bishop, and Stacy was talking with the school district, and I was driving home from Wegmans, and I get a call from Jay, and says, hey, I just took all these pictures, it'd be a great spot, Brian and I are out here, we can see places to put 10, 15 trees. Oh, okay, I'll come over. And hung up from that, and I hadn't even pulled out of the parking lot. And Stacy calls, and she says, I got all arranged with the school district. And I said, yeah,
That's
we're going with the school district. I like that one, we get anyhow.
I think it worked out better this way. I
Right.
really do.
Because this gets us to Wesley Bishop, I think is much better for this.
For
Yeah,
the-
right, for the park
right.
site. No, and I agree.
So, I got just today a confirmation that it's going to be on Friday, September 19th. Friday, September 19th, at the high school from 9 to noon. We'll be planting 10 trees.
Did you figure out the other type of?
Oh, yes, IKEA is sponsoring this. So we're gonna plant 5 Princeton elms and 5 black tupelos.
The black tupelos are beautiful.
Yeah,
And that's
black-
all.
Black tupelo has a tap root, so it doesn't have the surface roots to screw up the playing fields. It
Perfect.
is a beautiful tree in the fall,
Mhm.
brilliant red, it's a native tree. So I think it's probably a good selection. These will be coming from Fernwood Nursery where we usually get our trees. I have a meeting scheduled for next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, with Jessica Franzini
Mhm.
and Greg McCarty of the school district. And we're going to lay out, he's gonna have where the sprinkler system is, and we'll make some final decisions on where we're gonna lay out the trees. It changed a little from when we looked at it, wasn't sure he wanted inside the fence in Westfield, I really think they should. We'll see what happens. So anyhow, We're gonna need,
They want on the outside of the fence, all that stuff?
what they're talking about, yeah, he's talking about, oh, maybe there's not enough room inside.
Oh, I think there's
Because
plenty
they,
of room.
I think
Unless
there's
they
plenty
have
of room.
the sprinklers or something.
No, it's, he's thinking the closeness to the goal
the
line.
field, yeah,
Oh.
the end zone.
I've been on that field and it's pretty,
I thought it was awful.
pretty wide.
Or is that side?
It seemed narrower on the sideline, on the,
It's a little narrower on the side, but
what is it,
Westfield.
No, Bridgeboro.
Bridgeboro.
Oh, Bridgeboro.
No, on Westfield, I thought it was narrower on the Westfield side.
Westboro is
Oh,
a
maybe.
little narrow,
Alright.
but that's the right hand goal line,
Right.
side road. It's not a,
Alright,
so anyhow, we're gonna go out, next Wednesday at 1:00, as we to, kind of look over and finalize it. I must say that Greg McCarty is a pleasure to work with. He's
he's a good guy.
I mean, after dealing with some of the other people we deal with, he's a delight. I also met with the assistant principal, I met the principal, the assistant principal, Bob McCulley, something like that. No,
From assistant superintendent?
Bob McGrew, McGrew,
Principal.
assistant principal of
Go.
McGrew.
Go.
He
At the
met
high school?
at the high school. And he said that he would work on getting the environmental club involved.
Oh, okay, great.
Because I had asked that question, I said, should I do something? I didn't know, I thought he was building some ground guy when I first. So afterward, I said, well, what's your job really? He said, I'm assistant principal. Oh, great.
Oh, talk to the right person.
So anyhow, he's going to deal with the environmental club and try to get it done. And I just sent him today a confirmation of the date and asked him if he could get the environmental club for any or all of the times, 9 to 12. I'm not sure
Right.
how it is getting kids out. Kids, I'm sure, love to get out of school.
This is like second week of school.
Right.
Right.
Now who will do the digging of the
Next
hole?
week, who's
Would
gonna
that
do the
be,
holes?
would
Now,
that be great? His team, his people?
right?
Uh,
No, volunteers are going to do the whole.
All,
It's 10 holes.
all
It's
set?
10 trees, volunteers do the whole thing. What they do
Okay.
is they bring the trees and put them next to, we'll have spotted the locations. And then we'll bring the trees next to it. They wanted some kind of equipment. And Greg said he had a truck with a tail lift that could handle that.
Okay.
So we'll confirm that with Jessica next week. But they'll move them into position, and then you basically, she's an expert at doing this, planting trees. They've done this in Camden. Matter of fact, Manning deals with her a lot, Manning Delgado.
Oh,
deals with her.
okay, yeah. Okay,
And
yeah.
after last week, I got a call that, can we put those trees anyplace? I said, no, they're already committed to this one place. But anyhow, they will instruct people how to do the first hole, and then people go out and dig the holes. Supposedly are gonna be probably about 10 IKEA volunteers.
Oh, I was gonna say, do we need to do publicity for this?
Yes, we'll need to
So
do
maybe we should,
publicity.
and asking for volunteers to come out to help.
Right, I've already talked with STEM and the garden club,
To the garden club too.
and them garden club and MIA, try to get them involved. And then we'll use our tree inventory committee in addition.
Yeah.
So I think they would like to see 20 to 30 volunteers.
Great.
And if they bring 10, we bring 20, I think that's doable.
Yeah.
I don't see that's a big issue, we should use some volunteers, so if we use publicity.
Yep.
As I say, IKEA is sponsoring, Jessica, when I meet with her, she will be, they develop some kind of a press kit, press package also. But said, you know, because I asked about publicity, he said, but if you guys could do some publicity too, I said, well, yeah, use your,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you've got, you know, between the Patch and the Sun, the Rutherford County Times. I said, we have a great person on our committee who does publicity, so that shouldn't be a big issue. So that'll be Friday, September 19th. Hope everybody can arrange their calendars to be there in the morning. Brandon Pugh, I saw him when we were watering. He said, oh, let me know when that is. He says, I don't know a thing about trees, but I can dig a shot, I can dig. Youth, it's great. Always waste on the end, but it's great. Okay, so that's, so we had some success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stacy, for your help. 9 till 12, 9 to noon. And it'd be at Westfield and Ridgeboro Road. The Oasis there for trees.
We can
And
probably go
they
across
liked
the
it.
street,
They
probably.
liked
We
it.
need parking at school parking, I'm sure too.
Well, that and there's also parking.
We know what it is, because in the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and a lot of the kids don't have their
They don't have
license
their
yet.
license yet.
But also across the street on Westfield, there's
The little park,
Open
the
space.
little
Yes.
park there.
Yeah.
we can park there, and I think I'll also talk with the Flying Feather.
Yeah, let's do it. They'll probably from mine. Went in and bought a drink or something.
More chicken, more chicken.
Yes, right.
Just pick up dinner.
Or just lunch.
For dinner.
The lunch is it.
Make sure you get some dinner.
It really, and Jessica, funny thing about this is I get a phone call from Jessica that we are winning this. Where am I? I'm in Italy, getting ready to walk through a garden, and my cell phone rings, and I'm feeling, I just pick it up because I thought it was one of my kids, you know, where are you? Not realizing after I did it, I said, that's not, doesn't say Suze or Laura, it just says 856.
No relative of mine.
And I'm thinking, oh God, is this some survey? And she started out this, I'm Jessica from New Jersey Tree Foundation. I said, oh God. But I was not terribly excited until she told me, I said, oh, excuse me. I said, I'm in Italy, can I call you back? So, oh, sure. So anyhow, we were, 10 communities applied. We were selected based on our location and our 3-sentence
And you,
justification.
just to give you credit, John, too, I mean, you put everything together really fast. It was like, oh, the application needs to be done tomorrow.
Right, yes.
Right.
We had a meeting, we had
So-
Wednesday and had.
Yeah, it was on Tuesday.
I think it was
We
Wednesday,
submitted
it was
on,
Friday, it was Italy.
Friday morning.
Yeah, so
So-
it was just being, making the phone call to the Board of Ed, and then, but I just wanted to give you credit because
Thank
you really spearheaded it and got it done.
I'm happy it was successful.
Yeah, right,
Uh,
yeah. 10 free trees, and I love it.
Right. We're in the library, so we're gonna be thrown out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Trees on county roads. Last night, 2 weeks ago at the council meeting, what I read in the Patch, don't know where truth lies, but what I read, said there was discussion on concerning planting trees on county roads. The council must decide whether they should shoulder the responsibility.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so I thought, I was gonna write a letter to each member of council, and I thought, no, I went to town council yesterday and pointed out to them that, we've got an agreement for 10 years. And right after the agreement was signed, Jack Terry, ordered the 10 trees be planted on Camden Avenue at the cemetery. But since then, nothing's happened. And we've had go-arounds with it, and, Hackertown Public Works says, can't plant them on county roads. We have an agreement that says you can, and got Brian involved, and Brian was getting pulled both ways. Finally, he had both Ken and Scott there at the same time and asked them both the same question. And I think that's what fermented this. Unfortunately, Scott was not there last night.
Unfortunately, I wasn't there last night
And
either.
you weren't there last night either.
Did they
But-
make any decisions last time on that?
They didn't make any decisions, but there certainly was support from, I think there was support from everybody.
Right.
Victoria,
There should be.
Good.
There should
Victoria talked a little bit more about it. Greg was supportive of it, Chris was supportive of it.
Good.
So I think there is support for it. I just thought, and I wanted to point out to him, I said, you know, the county roads, you got Chester Avenue, Riverton Road, Church Street, Camden Avenue, Kings Highway, Monona Road, they'll all look like Camden Avenue down by 73.
It's
Absolutely.
good.
Ability, so it shouldn't be a big deal. The only question somebody brought up was, isn't there a requirement of CFO? Or, Tom?
Talk shop.
Rochelle brought up, isn't there a thing that you have to provide a engineering plan? And I said, or an engineering something.
Brian did say that we have to submit to the
Right,
county.
and it's in the
engineer
agreement. I said, yes,
the
it's in the
location.
agreement, and we had submitted one before, and it just went
Just
nowhere.
kind of just, yeah.
So I said, yeah, we're aware of that, we were able to do that last time. So anyhow, I think we took care of it.
Good. All right,
So-
so hopefully we'll move on with that one.
The management plan, how we,
It's on, Google Drive.
Google Drive, okay,
So it's under community management plan.
what do we need to do?
Big chunks are goals and objectives and timeline. Those are the big chunks we need to look at and get together and populate with new ideas and new goals and that sort of thing. I started, the one thing, I can't remember what it's under, but they were asking, 5 years of progress, what has worked, what hasn't worked, why hasn't it worked, that type of thing. And I did some sort of free thinking writing, which, the stuff that I know, so,
We have our accomplishment reports, which I've been, Gene Caruso used to do them, and I've been editing. I had try to go and to make it align it with what our management plan, so I'll put those up there also.
okay, yeah, like I said, I sort of free wrote what were our goals, last time and what we accomplished, so, I did write some stuff.
Good, great.
But it is up there, and it's
In
funky.
between being in Amsterdam,
Yeah.
What's all this
congratulations.
European traveling? What is all this?
This young lady was there for a month, I think,
What did
right?
I miss out on?
Well, I hope you enjoyed it.
I do.
I hope
like it.
Lisa enjoyed it.
She did like it, yeah. Now, you went to where in Italy? Venice?
Started out in Naples,
Okay.
2 nights in Naples for a nostalgia trip, where I had lunch with my former CFO,
Oh, wow.
who, she is an Italian lady, Abe Leahy, distinguished. She's married to a lawyer, Michele. Michele was the president of the Naples Lawyers Association. He's now on, or heads, Berlusconi's defense team.
Wow.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna, his goal is to be president of Italy. So I said, when I wrote her a thank you note, I said, and he said, well, I still have time, the other guy's 90. So I said, I hope you're invited to his inauguration. Then we went to Rome, went to Tuscany, spent a week in a gorgeous villa, and then went to Lerici and on to Milan, flew out of Milan.
Wow.
And
Excellent.
with the whole family, which made it really special.
Yeah.
All right, any other items of business? I kind of
Thinking
dominated.
caps
Covered
on.
it, covered it well.
Yeah. Thinking caps on for what we want to really do. for
Yeah,
the
we really have
summer.
to, think some more on this. I've been keeping thinking, oh, well, are they gonna do it, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it?
Well, we're
Yeah.
doing it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. And my biggest concern was where, I think we've settled that, so that, but now I'm hearing other concerns, we have to worry about entertainment and things like that. So, what are
We
thinking
can
caps
get a band,
on?
and if we can get one group of maybe elementary school kids to
Yeah.
sing a song.
You
I
right,
think
yeah.
we do.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to kind of break up the
Yeah.
chit chat.
And if it's a statewide thing, I think the schools might be more receptive.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
But I think we just, I mean, we need
who
to,
would, should we?
we need to
should we-
contact them earlier too.
Should
so
we
that at least they
contact
can-
them? Who should we be dealing with, but just the schools, right? Or
Yeah, I mean,
should
so
we move up and?
we need to figure out if we want it to be the elementary, if we want it to be the high school, like which schools do we want? Do we want a group from each one? Like, we have to kind of figure that out. If we can do
Okay.
that in the next month, maybe
Right.
come back with
Okay.
ideas in September of what we want to do, and then we can we can contact, obviously the superintendent, let him know our ideas, and then contact the individual principals at the school. I think that's probably the best bet. But let's just try to figure out, like,
Great.
get some ideas of how we want to proceed with it before we contact them and say, oh, wait, we didn't want you.
Yeah.
Right.
We're thinking about it, but we aren't sure, you know.
Not forget it.
Great.
So I think that'll be good.
All right, anybody else have it?
Jay, those traps can come down, because those fight season's done and the wars are done, so they can come down.
Anything with that?
We hope not, but we're concerned.
We're down to two.
That's from weeks ago, that was just confirmed. I'm thinking, because it was found in the trap, there were two found, that one was found back in May. It wasn't what the federal order moved out was a lot. What has to happen is it's identified here, then it goes to Beltsville, Maryland. So by the time it came back up, there were two found right away by the same guy. So I think that's what it was, but that one was found in the trap.
Oh, just two individuals or two sites?
Two sites.
It's not that far away.
No.
Where was it in?
What's the
But
NBC?
the state dropped the ball on this one, because if they would have done it in county, now some of the landscaper could chop a tree out and come down here and sell it. Infested with, infested root can travel throughout the state. So that's what that does, the state dropped the ball. The only thing federal does is interstate, and we don't have agricultural checkpoints, like California does.
Yeah.
There's no agricultural checkpoints here.
Wow. Let's hope there's none in there.
Okay,
Thank you.
anybody else?